Hey everyone, today we're looking at the PSD to Mountain Nund. It now lets you use ridge and valley lines to shape the flow of your terrain. Right here, you can see the mountain layout I drew in Photoshop. This one is the mountain boundary. This line represents the ridges. And this one is for the valleys. Alright, let's jump over to Houdini. First, we create a height field. Change the parameters. Find Quick Brush. Create the PSD to Mountain Nund. Import the PSD file. Add a layer. Import the mountain outline, here. Change the height. So, this is the terrain generated using our old method. Now, let's bring in the ridge lines. Let's do a quick comparison to see if it matches what we had in PS. Let me tweak the angle a bit so we can check if the ridges are flowing the same way. Usually, just using the ridge lines is enough to get a pretty natural-looking mountain shape. But sometimes you want distinct valleys or deep dips, and that's when you want to add the valley lines. Let's trail on the valley lines and see how it looks. As you can see, it carves out those dips a bit more on top of what we had. There's an intensity control setting right here. If we turn this value down, the flow of the ridges and valleys won't be as pronounced. But if we crank it up, the effect becomes really sharp. The default value is 0.5. We can also add a bit of distortion here to make the mountain look more organic. Let's add a touch of erosion too. So, these are the ridges and valleys. We've also added a flatten feature here. Let's head back to PS and draw something real quick. I'll paint a semi-transparent area here and save it out. First, let's turn off the erosion for a moment. And let's reload this. Now, let's load up the flattened map. There we go, now we have a flattened zone right here. In Photoshop, the opacity directly controls the fallout smoothness. If you have a hard edge, the transition between the flattened and unflattened areas will be very harsh. But if it's semi-transparent, you'll get a nice, smooth gradient transition. Alright, now we can turn the erosion back on. Let's perform a comparison. And that pretty much covers how this node works.